Hello, beauties. If you have ever had fear in your business, fear that you're gonna fall on your butt, fear that nothing's gonna work, fear that everything's gonna be amazing and then nobody loves you anymore because you've gone so far beyond where they are, whatever the fear is, fear of responsibility. If you've had those fears, this video is for you. Please do me a favor to support me with this whole topic and let me know, what is your biggest fear in the comments thread. What's your biggest fear that you want to overcome? Claim it now, because I'm about ready to teach you 3 strategies that are going to support you in overcoming the fear. And when you claim the fear that you want to shift, fear of responsibility, fear of failing, fear of imposter syndrome, when you claim that here, guess what? We're going to get a chance to shift that. The truth is, it does not have to stop you. And we've got to learn these strategies, because when you're stretching outside your comfort zone, when you're a conscious spiritual entrepreneur who's wanting to self-actualize through your business, you're going beyond anything you've ever done before, you're gonna have fear come up. That's part of the game. In fact, I truly believe that part of the reason why you are drawn to the business that you're drawn to is probably because the universe knows that's where your zone of uncomfortability, if that's a word, that's where it lives, right? You're unconsciously drawn to the parts of you that know you're going to get triggered or feel afraid. I couldn't believe when I put the post up in the sisterhood group, what topic do you want me to cover on these Monday videos? I cannot believe how many of you said some form of help me overcome fear. Dozens of you. Rosemary Donnelly says, how do I stay the course when things don't go as planned? Adrienne Mascaro says, how do I detach from the outcome and not let fear take over? So I'm in Hana, Maui right now, and it's just the most beautiful place to contemplate overcoming fear, because I'm here celebrating that a year ago, my 3-day live event was one of the first events to cancel when COVID hit. Now, I had lived with a fear for years, ever since I started my business and ever since I started building this company where I'm literally paying dozens of women's paychecks. I have women that work for me that are single moms. The company's grown to multi-millions, and so much of our revenue comes from live events. And so I've had this fear that something's going to happen to one of my live events that's going to send the company into a pothole of, bankruptcy. And I've literally laid awake at night. I mean, I learned how to worry from my mom. I'm not blaming you, Mom. I'm just saying you worried a lot when I was a little girl. And with total love, I say that it's my responsibility now to learn how not to let worry and fear take over my life, right? That's what we get to do. And I've laid awake at night being afraid that there's going to be an earthquake and the venue where I'm doing my live event is going to flood. I've been afraid that there's going to be a fire and fire alarms go off and everybody has to run out of the venue in the middle of the seminar right before I make my offer, of course, right? All these fears have come up. And so when my COO called me and said, we might want to consider making another plan about the event next week because a lot of things are shutting down. I was steadfast. I was like, no, this event is happening. I was in complete denial. I remember being like, okay, if Disneyland can stay open, we can stay open. But of course, 2 days before the event happened, I got the news that the governor was shutting down all events in the state of California. And even the hundreds of women that wanted to come weren't going to be able to come. And I did 3 things in that moment that I want to share with you. They weren't exactly graceful, but they helped me get through facing the biggest fear that I had ever had in my business of a live event being canceled. It's a little windy out here. Can you guys hear me okay? So number 1, the first thing we have to do when fear hits is we have to learn ways to release the fear. Because the fear will take over physiologically if we don't learn fear releasing tools. The fear will take over physiologically if we don't learn fear releasing tools. So for me in that moment, I actually couldn't help myself. My girlfriend was standing right there, thank God. She had come over to my house to take a walk around the block with me and get me away from event prep for a few minutes. She was standing right there when I got the call. The event is not going to be able to happen live. I remember falling to my knees and just letting myself sob because it was appropriate. She knows how important live events are to me. We had been preparing for months for this event. And like I said, we had over 700 of you with tickets booked. You know, if you were planning on coming to that event, let me know below. It was a big moment for all of us. And I went ahead and I cried my eyes out, knowing that I was gonna need to get all of the angst, all of the fear out of my system so that I could get back on my feet and plan the event as a virtual event. And I knew I was gonna have a lot of decisions to make. I knew there was gonna be a lot of work all weekend long. Even though I was planning on resting the weekend before the event, I was going to be working instead of resting. And so I knew I had to get the emotion out so that I could pick myself back up and frickin' put my big girl panties on. Now, there's a lot of situations where the trigger comes, the stimulus of the fear comes, and you're in a situation where you can't drop to your knees and cry, right? You're in a meeting, you're leading a training, you're about to lead a training. In that case, I recommend breath work. I've learned several different breathing techniques that I use all the time in my business. One of my favorite ones is just in through my nose and out through my mouth with pursed lips. Do it with me for a few rounds. There's something about that breath that sends the energy down. Because when we get afraid, when we get triggered, we get in our heads, we start to spin out. And we've got to learn how to actually bring the energy down into our hips, right? The trigger is 99.9% of the time like the invisible lion, the invisible bear. It's actually okay. Like, we're gonna find our way through it. You know, the house isn't actually on fire, but our neural pathways don't know the difference. And so we have to just learn to rewire, right? So number one, learn techniques to release your fear. Know that it's gonna come up, know that it's good. Your fear is coming up because you're hitting the edge of your comfort zone. You're gonna be impacting more people. You gotta release it. Number two, there's a concept to, love the fear. There's a lot of teachings out there around, send love to the fear, send love to the little girl in you, send love to the little boy in you, the part of you that's triggered, send love, send love, send love. What's a little bit dangerous about that, and I don't disagree with that, but what's a little bit dangerous about that is that what you love grows. There's some synonyms right here. Have you ever heard fear, fuck everything and run, versus fear, face everything and rise? How do we choose the latter? How do we choose to face everything and rise in the face of fear rather than run? One of the ways that we do that is we have to acknowledge ourselves for rising. Many of us have been taught to love the small parts of us, to love the fear. But the tricky thing is that which you love grows. And so follow me right now. If that which you love grows, we've got to be careful to not love the fear more than we love the part of us that rises beyond it, that gets back into action, that shifts our energy. I have a new favorite saying. I got it from my coach. She says, when we work together, she says, "Good job with your energy, Sage. Good job with your energy." And it feels so good to be acknowledged for my ability to shift my own energy. So try that with me. Say that to yourself. Good job with your energy, Leah. Good job with your energy, Melanie, whatever your name is. Affirm that you can actually shift your energy and then love the fact that you shifted your energy. Acknowledge yourself for shifting your own energy, because what we love grows. And so just a place to look, a place to be a little cautious, right? Yes, send compassion to the small parts of us, but then bring even more love to the the knower, the empowered one in you that chose to grow this business in the first place, because it is so worth it. I promise, I promise, I promise, I promise. And that brings me to the third strategy to help you overcome fear when the fear hits. And that is to know that the greatest fear we have, I really believe the greatest fear we have is just like Marianne Williamson said, the greatest fear we have is of our greatness. The greatest fear we have is that everything is actually going to be okay. Everything is actually going to be okay. Has your life actually proven that to you? That at the end of the day, everything's actually going to be okay? And I used to think, and I've been told by teachers, the fear is just this addiction. It's these old addictive neural pathways. It's this habit, right? And I'm not saying that that's wrong, but what I found to be even more true is that at the end of the day, a lot of the times I'm just terrified of the mystery of living a life where everything's good all the time. There's just this unconscious, unspoken thing in many parts of our society where it's here's what's hard for me. Well, this is harder my heart is harder than your heart. I've found myself literally telling people little ways that I struggle just to minimize how good my life is. I've literally caught myself when people are like, oh my God, you have the best life ever. You just led this incredible event for your clients and now you're going to Maui for 2 weeks. And I've literally found myself saying, yeah, but I got a headache yesterday, or, I've literally found myself minimizing how good my life is. And so I just want to invite you to consider if it's possible that you have fear at both ends of the spectrum, right? You have fear of falling on your face and failing. I know I do. And you may also have fear of ending up on Oprah and having the best life ever, and what's going to happen then, and are people going to abandon me if everything gets better and better and better, and what if I have a better life than everybody around me? And so just to call yourself out that what if it's okay for everything to be okay? What if you choosing to be an entrepreneur, what if you choosing to grow this business, it might not be the norm, but it puts you on a path of self-actualization, impact, income. And yes, you're the minority for choosing to do that, but you want to know what? Millions of other people have done it. And so why wouldn't you want to be with them? If they can do it, if we can do it, so can you. There's nothing different about myself or any of the women in the Women Rocking Business community that have made $10,000, $50,000, hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's nothing different about us. It's just true. I'm calling you out right now. There's nothing different about you. There's nothing different. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing broken. Nothing. You were called to this business for a reason. You were tapped by the universe on the shoulder. The universe said to you, I need you to go give this gift on my behalf. How else is the universe going to do its work to shift our consciousness, to shift the planet, to change the course that we are on this planet toward positive, toward healing, toward sustainability, toward ecological flourishing, toward humans being healed? How else is the universe going to do its work than to choose you and do that work through you? So just keep getting out of your way, sister. Keep getting out of your own way. And as I wrap up this video, I'm just going to remind you, number one, learn how to release the fear. Breath work, tears, whatever it takes. Number two, what you love grows. So affirm your victory, affirm your strength, affirm your ability to shift your own energy. And number three, don't be afraid of everything being amazing, because it can be. There's a spiritual hymnal that says, sometimes we have to claim victory during the test. I leave you with that, sister, for this incredible week ahead. Go out and claim the victory during every little test that you have, because I promise what's waiting for you on the other side is worth it. Says your friend Sage from Maui, celebrating that a year after COVID hit, I'm having the most incredible business success ever. And I just took 2 weeks off with my sweetie to roll around in the delicious Maui ecoscape. All of it is waiting for you. Everything that you want. The impact, the freedom, the ability to change lives, and then go enjoy your life beyond what you ever could have imagined so that you can fill up and get out there and change more lives. I love you. Have the best week ever. Let me know what you got out of this video. I read the comments when you guys post comments, and it just fills my heart up so big. It means the world to me. I just want to know, how does fear stop you? Let me know, and I love you. Mwah. And if you got value from this episode, I invite you to hit the subscribe button so that we can get you weekly business trainings in your inbox to help you grow your impact and your income the women's way. Head over into the Women Rocking Business Sisterhood Facebook group and introduce yourself there, because women go so much further when we go together. Just click the button to subscribe and we will see you on the other side.